and then I am going to introduce you, Lindsay.
All right.
Lindsay Marcellet, is it Marcellet?
Marcel, you said it right.
Oh,
Well
there you
done.
go.
Very few people
It's,
do.
it's the German in me. Growing up next to French neighbors kind of helped with some of the
There you go.
pronunciation. So
There you
super
go.
excited to have you here. This one is the last interview in our series, and I wanted to round it up with a number 5 stager because you have such amazing insights. There's a golden nugget that gets dropped from each one of you during the interviews, and I know you're going to be dropping the gold too for people saying, I want to sell my home during the winter. What do I do? Do I put this up? Do I not put this up? Do I do all of this, right? But before I do you want to tell everybody a little bit about your staging company and your background so they know where you're coming from?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So thanks for having me. That's exciting. So my background, I actually started with doing event design. And it was fun because we got to go in and overhaul a space and make it into a big production. And then we tore it down and then people went on with life. And I enjoyed it, but then I always had the design side. And my biggest thing is like, you have to create your home. You have to create a space that not only you want to be in, but that people want to be in. From there, I started an online e-commerce business and I sold home goods. And that led to in-home design and staging, and it picked up fairly quickly, and that led to real estate. So I now focus predominantly on staging and redesign, and then I do the real estate too here in it's San Diego, so Southern California, and it's been a wild ride. So it's a lot of fun though.
That is so interesting. So like one thing leads to the other, right? And it tends to be like this sometimes in life, right? And one thing leads to the other. All of a sudden you're faced with selling your house.
Yep.
And it's like, the middle of December and you're looking at your Christmas tree, right? So my first
Yep.
question that I always kind of have is, what's the deal with the Christmas tree? From a staging perspective, what would you personally say?
It's a hard question, but an easy question. If the house is, if it's people are living it, they still have to live their life. Like family doesn't stop, memories don't stop just because you're selling your home. What I always say is let's create a balance and let's think about what are your goals. If your goals are to sell the house quickly, then that's maybe we can allow a little bit more Christmas into the design. If you are thinking the house will close before Christmas time, if there's a chance that the house will be on the market a little bit longer, I'd say that this might be a year where you just kind of scale back. Or even we working with clients, we'll say, okay, for the pictures, let's stage it so it will just span across time. Stage it so that way the photos are very marketable regardless of the time of year. Or regardless to what audience you're trying to market to. And then once you have those photos done, that's where the compromise and the balance can kind of come in, and to create the space, because it is your home still. And we have to remember that the people live in homes. Just because they want to sell their homes doesn't mean all of a sudden they're no longer in it. They're still in it. They still have to use it and allow their families to enjoy it. So I personally, I will always be on the side of, hey, let's just not do a Christmas tree if possible. They're beautiful. Don't get me wrong, absolutely gorgeous. I'm actually a part of something called the Holiday Homes Tour, where we go into houses and overhaul them for Christmas time. So I'm all about it. But I think that when you're selling your home, the thing that I always try and say is the glasses that you want to put on is how to make your home look larger, how to make it look more updated, how to make it look more timeless. And typically, unfortunately, don't hate me, but I think that sometimes means don't put that Christmas tree in the corner, or scale down, get a smaller tree.
Now, when it comes to one of the things I didn't talk a ton about with the other interviews, so I figured I'm going to just ask you, do you have a preference on a tree topper? So if you go on the home tours and you do those, you do a ton of different ones, I'm sure, where you decorate them. And I actually have 2 different kind of tree toppers, which is what just popped this question in my mind. One is like a family heirloom. And then the other one I bought, it's a glow in the like star. I got small kids, so they like all things glowy, right? But I mean, is there like a go-to one where you say, okay, you have a Christmas tree, in order to maybe not have this lavish tree topper on there, here's what I would recommend you might try?
Yes. So I lived in the South for just a little bit. And one thing that I noticed there is on the Christmas trees, and I'm sorry if I'm offending anybody. I love the South. The food is great. Southern people are phenomenal. But the thing I noticed at Christmas time is it was kind of like ribbon exploded onto Christmas trees. And that's great. You know, like I think when you have a theme and a style, be consistent and just rock it and go all out. However, I think it tends to create a more dated look. And again, it's not the simple. So I would say for me personally with tree toppers, I love just like a classic star. This last year, I actually got into the kind of old world looking paper stars, and I think they were $10 from Hobby Lobby, and it was just a clean, simple way to make a statement, and not to make it look like something exploded on the tree. So that's my personal preference. But again,
well, that's why we have different
okay.
people on, because some people will mash with one over the other. Some say absolutely no tree. I had one of the people on here that said my belief used to be no tree at all.
Yeah.
So it's just really nice to get a good variety of what people like. And yes, I had somebody from the South that had all the ribbons all over the tree, and it ended up looking fabulous. That's where our first impression is. And what is your thought on, your front door entry over the holiday season? What do you typically recommend your clients do?
I would say keep it simple. I think that is the general theme is don't overdo it. But the great thing is wreaths are kind of timeless. So to put a wreath on a freshly painted door, that I would recommend that regardless of what time of year it is. So that's where I think like just an evergreen wreath would look beautiful. A magnolia leaf wreath would look beautiful. So it still makes that visual impression. It'll create some great curb appeal on a budget. I mean, it's a really easy way to create curb appeal without having to spend a lot of money.
Do you have a preference for like a welcome mat per se, or going back to keeping it simple and easy, like timeless, or would you do something more holiday like?
I would tend to keep it more simple. And again, this might be one of those things where you can switch out once the photos are done, once the showings are done. So I would definitely err on the side of keep it simple. The other thing I would say too is keep it to scale.
Do you think music can influence like some of that holiday feel when you're in a home? Just curiosity.
So I'll tell you I would say in the past year, I've only had one house that has had, I'm assuming you're talking music playing.
Yeah, music playing, like when people come and tour,
buyers come in. I've only had one house who has had music playing. And the reason why they did that is they installed this elaborate sound system that was synced between downstairs, upstairs, outside, it was like incredible music throughout the house, throughout the entire property. They wanted to highlight that. I haven't seen that in other properties, but you know what? Why not? It's I think right now especially in Southern California, we're in such a seller's market that sellers don't necessarily have to do that. But I could see that as something of adding in once the market starts to shift, of how can you make your house stand out, make it smell good, make it sound good when you walk in. I think that could be a really cool added bonus. Something not to like stress super hard about, but I think it's the little touches that definitely make a house stand out.
Yeah, that's a good thought on it. I don't think we touched on that one yet either. So see, it's always something new that comes out. And because you're a real estate agent, I feel like you have a little bit of the advantage to talk to from like two different worlds, like you can talk from a staging world, you can also talk from a real estate world. And I guess the other question that oftentimes during the holidays, making memories, is something that comes up is kids, right? How can you incorporate the kids during this holiday season when, hopefully we're decluttering toys already in anticipation that there might be more coming down the chimney, right?
Mm-hmm.
But just for them giving up things without having an immediate replacement, might be hard. Is there
Yeah.
like
And I'm speaking from personal experience. I remember, gosh, I believe I was maybe second, third grade it was years ago, when my parents were selling their house. It was during the holiday season. And we got into a routine of up her the realtor's name was her name was Debbie. It's like, up, Debbie called us, somebody, she's bringing somebody by the house. And we knew the drill of, okay, time to put our toys away. My mom was really great at making sure we had a spot that was behind closed doors. It was in the closet that we could throw our toys. And I think the thing that I was really grateful from a child's perspective is life didn't stop. That the realtor didn't expect life to stop for us. Even the buyers who were looking at the house, my parents, they knew that kids were still going to be kids. There was going to be evidence of kids being there. So I mean, it's hard. It's that balance of like, how do you be conscious of it? How do you play into the psychology of the buyer? How do you make sure the house looks clean and pretty? So there's a lot to balance. But I think the biggest thing to communicate, it's a short-term thing, and allow other areas. So create other outlets. So for me, it's my mom made sure, okay, if people are going to come to the house, we're going to go drive around the neighborhood and look at the Christmas decor, or like, this is a great time to go and finish our Christmas shopping. And so I think my mom deliberately delayed us kids like buying presents for the grandparents and aunts and uncles, so that way she knew, okay, we're going to go out and we'll just buy one gift this trip, and that was enough time for the buyers to get in and out. But she didn't. She definitely scaled back on the Christmas decor, but she didn't not do it, and she still included us in that process. So I would say, again, like everything in life, it's balance, and it's realizing people still have to live and just still live.
There was a lot in there that I found personally just really interesting, and you might not like realize it as much, but the fact that you remember what it was like when your parents sold the house during that time, I feel like speaks a lot to, the thing that children do remember. And we need to remember for our sellers, yes, it's important we sell their house, but it's also equally important we value what is most valuable to them, which is their family.
Yep.
So just telling them, no, we're going to do it like clean slate, everything's got to go, is putting so much stress out there. It wouldn't be right.
Yep.
So, I mean, you remembering that, I think that's just like phenomenal to start with. And then I think what we're going to try and do is I'll put like a little list together of ideas what you can do with the kids during the showings. The fact that your mom just took you to go out and get one present enough to, go and be busy for a little bit. Yep. I think that's a genius mom move,
Oh, absolutely.
Obviously, the holiday lights, we already talked a little bit about that in one of the previous interviews. You can do drive-bys for holiday stuff, especially with evening showings. So for us real estate agents to simply provide them a list of like, hey, here's the top 10 decorated houses in your area. So in case there is an evening showing, take the kids by one of those houses. And let me know what you think afterwards, right? That is just from a value standpoint, like they will value this.
Yep.
And even if the house doesn't sell over the holidays, you will still have played a part in contributing to making a little bit more memories, making it a little bit less, of a hassle and more of an outing.
Yeah.
So go buy a Christmas present one at a time.
One at a time.
Busy, right? Yes. Have a stash of Starbucks cards on hand for that hot chocolate run.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's again, it's not halting family or the traditions. It's just adapting it a little bit and kind of just going with the role, and just remembering the end goal is that your house sells for the most that it can sell for. So everybody is going to have to be flexible and bend a little bit, but you don't have to bend to the extent that it hurts or damages memories. So keep it in mind. And a good agent will know that. I'm just going to throw it out there. A good agent will know that.
And I think I'm just going to wrap this up right here with that. A good agent will know that. They will have your back, and you will make the right decision hiring the right person, because you just heard what it might take for the holidays. Lindsay, this was so fun. Thank you so much for sharing the memories, the stories, and also your expertise. This was
thank you for having me. Thank you.
Yeah. We'll make sure we'll blend in your website and everything so people know how to get a hold of you for staging related items. We do have quite a few real estate agents in here. And then obviously sellers in your marketplace, you know how to get a hold of Lindsay as well.
Awesome. Thank you.